All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, we got another one. Yep, that's right. Ubisoft's amazing video game, the game that everybody tried to convince you was a massive success, the game that all the shills tried to tell you was a big hit, the game that they tried to call you a grifter for calling out the issues with the game that weren't even related to how the main character looked. Because let's be very frank, there was a lot of problems with Star Wars Outlaws that were not even tied to the look of the character. Obviously, the look of the character was a problem for people, but there was way other more important issues, like how the game ran, how the game was broken, how the gameplay was broken, how they ended up removing stealth pretty much from the game, even though they designed the game to be focused on stealth because it played that poorly. There were so many things that were wrong with this game that people try to convince you was perfectly fine. Like, everything is good, right? Don't worry about it. Certain people try to convince you not to worry about the game and that you're just a grifter for complaining about it. Well, I am here to tell you that those people are going to be very quiet, right? Those people are going to be very quiet because they're always quiet. Every time they come home, and what do I mean by coming home? Well, I just mean by, coming home. Every time they come home, the shills that promote the game to gain access or maintain their access are suddenly very quiet and have nothing to say. So I said the following on X. The studio behind Star Wars Outlaws, refusing to acknowledge the truth, is now using corpo speak to avoid telling everyone that they're firing people because, well, you can't let the super success narrative go away. Instead, now we are giving people the opportunity to fire themselves, only if they want to, and we are helping them along the way. LOL, wow, man. Corporations. Now, you're probably asking yourself, Hypnotic, what the fuck are you talking about? Well, look at the post here that was made by Massive Entertainment. And in this video, we're going to cover how Massive Entertainment is performing massive layoffs. And not only that, how Ubisoft is also firing 60 developers and making one of their studios become a mobile developer in a time where they were trying to convince people after the Tencent buyout, the 25% stake in the new subsidiary, they were trying to convince people who were not part of that new subsidiary that everything was going to be okay. Don't worry about it, right? So let's cover Massive Entertainment. Here's what they said, and you guys tell me in the comments down below, as you like the video, what do you think about the gaslighting that's happening right now? Because they don't even want to tell you that they're firing people. I have never seen anything like this, where they try to convince everybody that this is not what's happening, although it is what's happening. Here's what they said. As part of our ongoing evolution and long-term planning, we have recently realigned our teams and resources to strengthen our roadmap, ensuring our continued focus on the Division franchise and the technologies, including Snowdrop and Ubisoft Connect, that power our video games. To support this transition responsibly, we introduce a voluntary career transition program, giving eligible team members the opportunity to take their next career step on their own terms, supported by a comprehensive package that includes financial and career assistance. Massive Entertainment remains fully committed to our roadmap and to creating great experiences for players around the world, including The Division 2, The Division 2 Survivors, The Division Resurgence, and The Division 3. These projects continue with strength, focus, and ambition, and we look forward to sharing more in the future. Now, the first thing I thought of when I saw this was, oh, you're committed to your roadmap, but what about Star Wars Outlaws? Is Star Wars Outlaws not getting any extra content that you guys were talking about for who knows how long now? What happened to Star Wars Outlaws? You're not going to make any more content for that? You're going to focus only on The Division? That's number one. Number two, what the fuck is a voluntary career transition program? So you mean to tell me that you're talking to people and you're saying, hey, do you want to be fired? Do you want to leave our company voluntarily with a package before we fire you involuntarily without a package? Is that what you're telling me? Would you like to get laid off today? Imagine going to the office and seeing these people pull you into the room and they say, hey, how would you like to have a permanent vacation with pay? The only stipulation is that you can't come back. That's the only stipulation. I have never seen this amount of gaslighting in my life. And I got to ask the question, who the fuck do they think they're talking to? Who do they genuinely believe that they're talking to? I guess at the end of the day, they're probably talking to the shills that tried to convince everybody that this game was a massive success, right? All the people that tried to write all kinds of bullshit articles, all the people that try to convince you that you're some sort of grifter or whatever for calling out the bugs and the issues and the gameplay problems with the game. They tried to make the conversation only about the woman. That's what they tried to do. They tried to make the conversation only about the main character because they wanted to centralize the conversation, remove all the valid criticism, and only make it about the woman so they could call you a chud and call you a misogynist and call you a bigot in the hopes that it would somehow garner sales for the game and defend the game. But at the end of the day, you always come home. That's the problem. You always come home. And here's the thing. And like I said, we're gonna go over a bunch of things. So get some popcorn, stick around. We got a lot we got to talk about in this video. We have another situation here. Trials developer Ubisoft RedLynx is going to lose 60 employees in layoffs and become a mobile developer. So they I don't mean to laugh, but again, this is another prime example of them trying to tell you one thing and doing something completely different, right? A statement posted on the studio's website says that Ubisoft is moving forward with a restructuring proposal for RedLynx as part of the company's global efforts to simplify, reduce costs, and ensure a stronger prioritization and efficiency across the company's worldwide studio network. RedLynx says that it will negotiate with studio staff before making a decision on the proposal, which focuses primarily on the administration and production teams. These negotiations with the staff are scheduled to start on October 30th and will end by the end of November. Now, I find this to be so interesting to me because these people are so scared to fire these activists that instead of flat out firing their asses, they're trying to negotiate on their layoff. They're trying to say, listen, we'll fire you, but here's the deal. We're going to make it nice and sweet for you. They're literally trying to negotiate with the people that they want to fire. And this is happening all across Ubisoft. This is insane. I have never seen anything like this. Honestly, it's fucking hilarious. Right? So we have an article from PC Gamer. It says the following. Ubisoft has come up with a new way to avoid saying the word layoffs with a voluntary career transition program offer that some employees won't be able to refuse. Now, here's the great thing, right? I'm happy that the gaming journalists can even see through the bullshit that Ubisoft is doing. If the gaming journalists are not believing your nonsense, I don't think anybody will. And I find that to be funny because if you look at my post here, I showcased the following. I said, are you sure? Jade King from The Gamer, who, by the way, is the only one employed at The Gamer now, and everybody under his team was fired due to his bad leadership. But somehow, and you guys all know how, Jade King was able to keep his job. Just makes you wonder how that's possible, right? History is going to be kind to the Star Wars Outlaws. Are you sure about that? Because this was written in September 30th of 2024, and now here we are in October 2025, and everybody knows that history was not kind to Star Wars Outlaws. So are you sure about that? These are the people that want you to listen to them as the authority in gaming. You have another article from Luke Plunkett saying Star Wars Outlaws is the good Star Wars, a video game for a less civilized age. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? This was written December 4th, 2024 during primetime shilling for Star Wars Outlaws. And I'm sure I'd even bother going through all the tweets that these shills over on X like to utilize, because let's be real, man, these people only care about their access. Okay, that's plain and fucking simple. Either that or they're getting some really good rage bait over on X that is proving to be very valuable for them, and that's what they care about. Or they just want to be anti-chud, right? Which is fine. You want to be anti-chud, go for it. It's perfectly okay. If you want to shadow box the perception of your enemy, you're more than welcome to do that. You're fighting with yourself at the end of the day, because most of the time the chuds already been fighting with you. At least not me anyway. I don't bother with these fucking people on X. But I got some more. Polygon, which, by the way, suffered massive layoffs as well this year. Star Wars Outlaws is better than you think it is. It's worth playing for Sabak alone. This was written in May 18th of 2025, desperately trying to make Star Wars Outlaws a thing, even though it failed miserably. We have an article from, Rolling Stone Gaming. We all know the people who work for Rolling Stone Gaming because clearly people go to the Rolling Stone for their gaming news. Outlaws is one of the best Star Wars games ever made. With a scoundrel sense of wonder and wit, it nails the vibe of a galaxy far, far away by Christopher Cruz on August 26th of 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, again, this is only 4 of the many that I could have screenshotted, but I didn't want to fill the thread too much, obviously. I wanted to just make my point, and that's basically it. So with all this being said, people have been saying for the longest time that this game has been failing. And you would have people try to gaslight you and tell you, no, the game is not failing. The game is actually a massive success. It sold over 1 million copies, blah, 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 whatever. And I want you guys to all understand that they always come home after a while, right? They always come home. It doesn't matter what the story is. Eventually, it's only a matter of time before they come home. And the reason why is I'm going to cover this in another video too. But I want you guys to remember something that was happening with another video game that they tried desperately to convince you was a massive success. And now the studio is pretty much gone. Okay. Dragon Age the Veilguard breaks records for EA and BioWare. November 24th. I'm sorry, November 2024. Right? Dragon Age the Veilguard. Launch beats Jedi Survivor to make it EA's biggest ever single player game on Steam. Shut up. I don't care about your ads. EA CEO explains Dragon Age the Veilguard's success. Right? Dragon Age the Veilguard opens up as BioWare's best Steam launch with 70,000 concurrent players and rising. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody understands that when they try to tell you that these games that you know the numbers aren't adding up, right? Like something's got to give. The numbers are not adding up. Just like with Ghosts of Yotei that I'm going to talk about in another video because we got more numbers that we got to go over. When the numbers don't add up, you're going to come home eventually. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And when the shills try to convince you on X, don't listen to these grifters, these chuds or whatever. We have the real numbers. An authoritative source told me that XYZ game sold and it sold well, and that's it, and I believe it, right? Just understand that every time they say that, they always say that with their full chest, and they never have a number. They never have any, like they have nothing. It's always something that's very vague. If they were very successful, they would give you a number. Because that way people could do their math or whatever. They can figure it out. If they're not successful, they're not going to give you a number. They're just going to give you a ranking. They're going to be as vague as humanly possible because the more vague they could be, the better, right? Because that way they can look at you and say, well, trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. That's what it is. Trust me, right? Right now, there is a ranking that is going around for Ghosts of Yotei that I'm going to cover in another video, but I'm just going to give you a little sneak peek to make my point about Star Wars Outlaws. There is a ranking going around right now saying that Ghosts of Yotei was the number 4 best-selling game in the month of September for the year 2025, obviously. And number 1 was Borderlands. Number 2 was NBA 2K26. Number 3 was EA Sports. Number 5 was Madden NFL 26. And number 5 was Helldivers. What made me realize that there's something super sus about this is 2 things, and it's always about being vague, okay? Number 1, there's no copies sold. There's a reason for that. Number 2, this video game and its ranking is as useless as the Steam top seller list. Why do I say that? Because I always criticize Steam's top seller list. Why do I do that? Because Steam's top seller list goes by dollar amount. It goes by how much revenue estimated the game made. It doesn't go by copies sold. So you have indie games that are doing gangbusters fucking numbers, and they're being ignored because a AAA game that costs $70 to $80 or has a $130 Ultimate Edition is in the number 1 spot because it brought in more money. Forget the fact that its budget is way higher. Forget the fact that the copy sold is massively lower. They just want to utilize dollars because they know that's the best opportunity to bolster it. Number 3, these lists never have the digital sales for Nintendo because Nintendo doesn't provide that information to these people. Hence why Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2 and Donkey Kong Bonanza have asterisks next to their name to tell you that digital sales are not included. So they are lower in the ranking because they don't have the full context story, right? So all of this is hyper suspicious. And they'll try to take these lists and tell you that you are a chud, you are a grifter, you are an XYZ if you don't take this list at face value and you ask too many questions, right? The moment you ask too many questions, you're a grifter. You're supposed to do what these other guys do, which is take the information at face value and then go on this massive spree of dunking on, like, I don't know, Grums and Smash JT or whatever. They don't really mention to me anymore because they know I play a lot of video games, so they can go suck my dick. But otherwise, these people, like, they mention the same people every time. And the reason why is because they're shadow boxing these people on Twitter. That's what they're doing. They're literally shadow boxing these people on Twitter, and they're making up this ideology of them or this perception of them, and they're trying to fight that perception of them without actually fighting those people. You know what I'm saying? It's the weirdest fucking thing. So Star Wars Outlaws, all I got to say is, like I ended my last video, I'm going to end this video the same exact way. Welcome home. So if you guys enjoyed this video, consider hitting that like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys thought. And I will see you guys on the next one.